Yes, so all praises to the souls and the soulettes was good. So I wanted to do this video while I had the message delivered to me inside my mainframe, which is the brain, you know? So to begin with, man, I want to talk about the word name and why the word name is synonymous with the souls repping they sit. They sit, all sit. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, just to, touch bases on that. And also touch bases on what you would call the omen or the Armin or Amen beings. Now, when you look at the word name has Amen in it. So when somebody asks you, what's your name, that's basically you invoking the name whatever God, or should I say individual deity that you represent within self, knowing thyself. So when you know thyself, when somebody asks you what's your name, that's asking what set you playing within you being an Amen, Armin, or Omen being, you know. So that's what the word name represent. That's why they say Amen at the end of their prayers to throw you off with this whole Jesus character, which all come from ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, that's here in the Americas. And not to mention everybody claiming this American wave. You realize, like, each state of mind or dimension we go through with the ascension being raised up, someone always have to cling on to um, a, a name that have everything to do with the corporation, so to speak. Americans is not who we are. Indians is definitely not who we are. That's a tribal people. You know what I'm saying? And that comes from, the animal race. We more advanced beings, but not saying that we didn't we didn't. Not, I'm not going to say that we didn't create those ideologies, because we did. You know what I'm saying? Like we conquered all ideologies. Statuses, titles, and things of that such. We already mastered all of that. The thing is that when you cling on to these statuses, that's when you lost in translation of what's being shown to you and how you should conduct yourself here on this planet. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we not Americans, man. We not the American indigenous, the American aboriginal, the Asiatics and all that type of stuff. But those were statuses, titles, and organizations that was built to give us a form of foundation. That way, knowing that we come from a divine nature. You know, air, and then too, the airmen and stuff like that. That all come from us when it come with the Tuskegee whole thing, and they showed you that in depth detail with the movie Red Tails. You check that joint out. The gods was running the air. You know what I'm saying? The skies. They was the sky gods. You know. So yeah, man. And then too, when you catch a flight, when you on an airplane, you catching flight. What's happening is you are going into different dimensions. Like they give you this idea that you floating through the skies and it's just one plain sky that you flowing through. People that do not have like I raised up pineal gland. They not gonna be able to see the dimensions that the plane is flowing through, because the plane is flowing through a portal. And the thing is that you enter in different domes within the planet, because there's multiple domes within the planet. It's sort of like what they showed you in the movie Wakanda, how Wakanda is, secretly, um, not secretly, but invisibly out of sight, and they open up the portal for you to go through to enter Wakanda. It's the same thing out here on the planet when you go to like Puerto Rico, or you go to Myrtle Beach, or you go to Dominican Republic, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Just to simplify it on that note, or just you going to Africa. Those are domes that you entering into. You know what I'm saying? Those are planetary domes. It's not just one field of a whole sky that you flying across and then you see a landmass. No, because your pineal gland low, you're not able to see the dome that you're entering into, because the ultimate dome is when you reaching up to the ethers. That's why when you go up towards the sky, the frequency is so high, the engine is not strong enough to enter in, through that field. You know what I'm saying? Nothing physical can enter through there. Anything under the dome is obsolete. So with that being said, there's no way. That's why they always talk about what's coming in from outside of the planet. No, that's not happening. You know, it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot going on, man. It's a whole lot of distractions, and that's another thing, man. With this whole thing with America, we not focused on these current events. We shouldn't be focused on them current events, because current events is all being played out on shit that already been done before. Ain't nothing new. It's just like ain't nothing new when they redo these bullshit ass movies. How many times they done rehash Spider-Man? How many times they done rehash Superman? You know what I'm saying? So, or Batman, or other, movies and series that they copied from decades ago that they rehash. You know what I'm saying? Thinking cats is so distracted that they forgot how these movies been running back in the days. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, at the end of the day, man, you gotta focus on yourself. You gotta be in tune with self, man. Straight from the rip. So yeah, that's what the omen beings are, the Armin and the Amen beings, or Amen. And the reason why they call it omen, because they too related to like black magic, like omens and demons and stuff like that. That's for you to be scared of your own shit. They want you to be afraid. You know what I'm saying? The O in front of men has everything to do with the old blood, the original, the omnipotent man and woman. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they throw the omen on there to make you afraid of yourself, afraid of your own power. You know what I mean? They try to make you afraid of your own self, man. But yeah, we ain't Americans, man. Forget all that American Indian crap and all of that. You know, ain't nobody talking about the real soul ascension. Ain't nobody talking about that. And they always got something to say about this fake ass food out here. The fake food is gonna be done away with. The real food gonna always be here as long as the sun shine. As long as the sun shine, we good. We good. You know? But yeah, that's my little video real quick, man. I just had to lay down that message because it been on my mental. So I'm like, I gotta speak on this. I gotta speak on these different planes that's within this planetary dimension because it's um it's multiple domes that's inside a mega dome. We inside of a mega dome, and then like I said, there's domes within this dome, and people can't see it because they like I said, they on low vibrational energy. And there's another thing I want to say about rulership, man. When you in your high pure state, they have multiple suns in different galaxies, and with you busy praising a god in a sense of praying to a god that really don't have nothing to do with you, that is a transgression. You know what I'm saying? When you putting gods before you, because you are the God. You are part of the God. You are the omnipotent, the omnipresent. So with that being said, with us being within the full ruling class and our pure state, we have the ability to rule sons. And it's not so much a ruling sons that because that's our pure state. Lawfully, when we reach up to those frequencies, we have the ability to be overseers on planet suns. And that's just what it is. And then we rule over the moons. And then you have like for example, you have maybe 3 or 4 suns within that galaxy. That means you have solar beings that reached up to that level of being rulers. And then you have that one ruler, which is the supreme, that is over other rulers. So you have lords, and you have the supreme lord that would be on a planet sun, planet solar, planet soul. So that's how that works. It don't have nothing to do with dictatorship or captivity or any of that sort. It's just a ruling class that work in synchronicity. It's the same thing when they show you those scenes in the Matrix Revolution. I think it's Revolution, Matrix Revolution, where Neo went to go see Deus Ex Machina. So they showing you who the gods is. They absolutely showing you what the realm is like. Because he saw a gold city within the sun. And he was talking to the supreme being. And before he got to the supreme being, the supreme lord, there was other lords around. But you got to be able to see, because before the those droids formed into the ultimate face, which is the ultimate baby face, you know what I'm saying? There were other beings surrounding that machine world before that form transpired the way it did, to show the supreme lord. So and realistically, man, listen, if you still partying, if you still eating hot dogs and baked beans and all that type of madness, you completely lost. Especially if you in your late 30s or whatever, late in your 40s, 50s, and you just now getting this, man. or not. Matter of fact, if you're not getting this, you doomed. You done. And another thing, these cats focusing on these Carmelo Anthony's and all this type of stuff. Y'all don't realize that every summer that they do these summer solstice rituals. They do these summer solstice rituals, and these cats, they fall into these little so-called current events, because there ain't nothing new. What I've been saying is nothing new. You know what I'm saying? They keep sucker punching the black race, with gimmicks and bullshit, and then they take the bait, and then they be in an uproar talking about, oh, this wasn't right, that wasn't right. That's why you shouldn't trust the white T man and the white T woman. Nah, the whole fact of the matter is that it's an agenda. That's number one, and then number two, some of them do get into these circles with their the beast, but that's on them. They made their decision. The actions is being exploited, so it is what it is. And not to mention, so-called black people kill each other all the time. They unalive people, each other all the time. So when somebody else do it, oh, it's a problem. It should be a problem when y'all eliminating each other. That's the real problem. That is the real problem here. You know what I'm saying? That should be treason. Just to eliminate your own kind because somebody owe you some money, or somebody smashed your girl. No, she just gave it up. She was for the streets. She was for everybody. That's just a fact. A man willing to lay down another man because shorty had her coochie open for the whole world, for the whole hood, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She for everybody. So you can't get mad at that man. That man don't owe you nothing. You shouldn't even be calling that man talking about what you doing with my girl and all of that. Nah, you's a sucker. You coochie with. That's just what it is. You know what I mean? I would say heaven's gates, but it's a virus gate. It's a gate of hell, not heaven. When a woman has multiple pus DNA in her portal, letting every man hit. You know what I'm saying? So come on, man. And the same thing for these females sitting up there trying to attack a woman because that woman had intercourse with your man. Your man gonna do what the hell he wanna do. He gonna do what he want. He gonna take his meat and wild out however he wanna wild out with his meat. That's just what it is. So, man, for those who ain't got it together, get it the freak together, man. Stop being emotional and egotistically aroused. Whether it's entertaining low frequencies on all angles, being out here and just in the world, man. Just being part of the ways of the freaking world. And I know I was supposed to end this video about like 10 minutes ago, but it just got me going. I just thought it was necessary. But yeah, we rule, sons, okay, lawfully. Because the rule has a form of, dictatorship. But lawfully, we supposed to be the supreme lords. So we become lords, and that's what I'm saying. We so supreme even at our lowest. You know what I'm saying? Which is so amazing. That's what's so powerful and amazing and beautiful about us as a people, man. You know what I'm saying? The souls and the soulettes. That's what's so great about us, man. We can eliminate and amplify, create, manifest any goddamn thing we want, man, as long as we put our mental wave energy to it. It doesn't matter. We the original manifestation and manifestors of all things, which is synonymous with the omnipotence, the omni beings. So yeah, when they say what's your name, because they got it, you got these matrix terms, they got to dumb everything down, and then too, these names that these humans got, was created, they was created, but those names come from us as well. All of these names, you know, and these names all signifies a status. That's why when you can simply look at the definitions of words and identifying a landmass, food, um, even the last name within your family. It all represent a sect or what you would call a tribe. So or should I say your circle, your family lineage name. So each name has a meaning. That's why when they ask you, what's your name? Your name is the representation of you, the deity of self, the deity. Because name is Amen. Name is Amen. So they had to scramble up the words and ask you your name, but what they really supposed to be asking you, what's your Amen? Meaning, what's your deity? What deity of self that you represent? That's why in ancient Kemet, they all had names that represented or was synonymous with the previous ruler's name, or it was spelled similar to the previous ruler's name. You know what I'm saying? They have letters and pronunciations that's related to the past sibling and so on and so forth that may ruled. So they pass that name on. That's the same thing with your last name. That's within, your family's last name, your family's lineage. But yeah, man, that's my little video, man. I don't want to draw it out any further. I just wanted to be clear on this message because it got sent to me. It came through me, and I thought it was necessary to speak on this. I had to do it. It kept bothering me, It kept bothering me, but in a good way, like, you need to put this out there. Whoever get it, get it. Whoever don't, oh well. You know what I'm saying? No feelings whatsoever. No feelings whatsoever. But I would appreciate if, you guys like the video a bit more. Y'all come over and view the vids and, at least put a thumbs up. I do this off the, the will of me. I ain't receiving no ducats from this. It's a whole lot of other things I could be doing, but I take my time out to do this. So it is what it is, but Yeah. Peace to all, and all praises to and for the souls and the souls. Non is it, non essential.